Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to a new episode. Today, we will talk about how you keep your circle small in order to grow, the power of selective relationships. And it doesn't matter if it's in your professional life, if it's in your personal life, your family members, your friends, your colleagues. Every relationship that you cultivate has a significant impact on your journey to become the person you want to become and where you will end up. David Goggins said that noise distracts growth. If you don't know who David Goggins is, I would recommend you to Google him up and read his autobiography, Can't Hurt Me. I have immense respect for this man. He has 60 ultra marathons, ultra triathlons. He has set up multiple records. And the thing is that this man, he came literally out of nothing. Like, he came out of an environment where he lived poorly, where he had no money, and yet he has made it so far. But back to his statement, noise distracts growth. So the thing is that the more people you're having in your life, the more distractions you will have, because you have more opinions to consider, you have more point of views, you have more people who are telling you what is the right thing to do in life, right? Like, sometimes we don't even want an advice, but then people are just coming towards us and just giving us advice, even though we know that this is not how we actually want to proceed. What I'm saying is that some opinions, they literally can hinder you from growing. And the worst thing about it is that if you need to constantly hear negative opinions, negative views, people who are pessimistic about outcomes and life and who are just can see as much as their horizon is offering them. Like, for myself, I always really admired people who are slightly delusional. And what I mean by that is that they want to aim high. They know that where they are right now is so far from the goals that they want to achieve. And aiming high with your thoughts, because everything starts with your thoughts, you need to have silence. And silence you can only cultivate if you have less people, less opinions, less distraction in your life. And when I speak about noise, I don't only mean people that you're talking to regularly. I speak also about people that you follow on social media, the news that you're reading. Like, what do you feed your mind with? So really take the time where you sometimes sit with yourself, have some boredom. Don't go on social media all the time to get your mind distracted. Don't constantly call your friends once you have a thought that you want to share. Sometimes it's also fine by just staring at the ceiling or taking a walk and be in the nature where you can be more receptive towards new thoughts and new ideas. And when you have that silence in your environment, that's where your mind starts to sort things out. Now, you've probably already heard it very often, quality over quantity, but I would explain to you why it is that important. When you keep your circle small, people know what they can expect from you, and you know what you can expect from those people. You guys know each other's relationship dynamic, okay? And this relationship dynamic is only happening when you are giving and taking from each other. God literally created us in a form of a two-way relationship. Both sides are giving and both sides are receiving. It's not only one way. The only one-way relationship that is happening is between a mother and her child. It's between you and God. It's between you and the universe. Every relationship, anything else, is happening on a two-way side. Now, I have four very close friends in my life. And one of them, I consider them as my best friend. Like, I grew up with her. She is like my sister. When I went through a phase in my life, when life has hit me, I knew whom I can reach out for advice. I knew who is specialized in certain areas so that I know they can give me maybe a more of a objective advice regarding that certain topic. And having, let's say, less than 5 close people in your life, you also make sure that the advice that comes from those people, not only advice but also the presence that comes from those people, are genuine. You are having this overview of, like, okay, how do they see me? Do they value me as much as I value our relationship? And when you have a lot of people, you obviously can't control that. You lose the feeling for it. You lose the track for it. Your relationship is more superficial. because you have only that amount of energy that you can invest into the people that you love. That's why, like, the relationships that I have with my girls, like the relationship that I have with my family, like, I know when I tell my mother that I'm laying sick in my bed on the morning, when I'm telling that to my best friend, they would check in throughout the entire day, hourly, literally hourly, to see how I am doing. If I haven't replied to them on a Saturday afternoon, they would be worried about me. They would ask, like, okay, what's going on? So they literally expect me to reply to them. And I know that some people might think that might be a bit too much and, just let the people live. But you know what? I think in a society that is so individualistic, having people that care for you to that extent is a luxury. Because how many times have you heard in the news where people are passing away, where no one was searching for them and they were just literally lying in their apartments for several weeks? How many times have you heard that an incident has happened at a neighbor's place and no one knew what was going on? So I think it's so important to cultivate the depths of the relationships. And you can also have 20 friends where you consider them as your best friends, but do they actually care about you? Do they reach out to you when you haven't replied them within a few hours? In my case, my friends, my family, they know what I do throughout the day. They know I'm a morning person. They know I get up, I like to be productive. I rarely don't reply. I rarely just ignore text messages. So they know my habits, and knowing a person's habits also makes you more predictable on how you behave in certain situations. And what I'm just trying to tell you is that if you have people who are reaching out to you constantly at your worst, or maybe they are being there for you when you have messed up, when you are in a very difficult phase of your life, then cling on to those people. Keep them near and nurture this kind of relationship. Treat them like God has sent their souls into your life to be your companions on this earth. My next one is surround yourself with people who you want to be like. They say that you are the average of the 5 people that you're hanging out with, 5 of your closest friends. And that's why you need to hang out with people who you want to be like the most. And this also means, when we talk about quality over quantity, that you need to let people go who cannot fit into your life anymore, who do not grow and walk in the same pace as you do. Because at the end of the day, what you want to make sure of is that you have individuals that can fill your life with inspiration, with motivation, who encourage you to be better, not only like in terms of being rich or aiming to have certain goals that are manifest in form of like materialistic things, but also in a spiritual way. Like, do they help you to have a clear mind? Do they help you to be grounded and not just going crazy in this world full of distractions? So one example is that I used to have a friend from uni, and that was many years ago. We have hung out and I have noticed some of her behaviors. They were not really great. So I pointed it out. I said to her, hey, I realized that you have been a bit self-centered when it comes to certain things, and it does affect how people are viewing you. It does affect the relationships that you're having with other people, including myself. And I kid you not, it was maybe 6 years ago. I forgot about it. And last time when I visited her, she was like, I remember that one time when you told me that I'm self-centered, and she basically was telling me that she had to still think about it, that she was working on it, and that she was grateful that I pointed certain things out to her so that she could proactively work on it and reflect on the things. So what I'm trying to say is that you literally do yourself, but also other people a favor when you are giving them constructive feedback, because you know that for yourself, you mean it in a genuine way. You want them to grow. You want them to be better. You want them to have the best life by just improving themselves. And the thing is that if people are seeing the real you, if they are knowing that you're coming from a good place, then you want to keep them in your life. You want to keep them near to you. But if they are already assuming you are coming from a bad place, or maybe they are thinking you are just wanting the worst for them, or maybe they just in general, they can't even reflect on criticism or feedback, think about if you want to have those kind of people in your life, like when their ego is so big that they don't want to even improve themselves. The thing is that no one is perfect. Like, I have friends who are not perfect. I'm not perfect myself. Literally, like, my friends keep on pointing out to me every time when I do something wrong. I'm not perfect. And every time when they do that, I'm just like, wow, I have this aha moment. Like, I know I want to change that, And this is what counts. Like, we are not perfect. But what's important is that surround yourself with people who want to be better, who are seeking for the answer, who are having a lot of questions, who are having this thought process of what's next? How can I be better? What is needed so I can improve myself? And when you have those kind of friends, where you really can pour your heart out, where you really can say what's on your mind, then nothing can stop you. Like, nothing can stop your friendship, because the bond between you and this person is so deep that whatever is being said out there in the room, there will be a way to solve it, right? So always choose people who believe in your potential, and sometimes it might clash, but keep those people near to you. Meaningful connections also means less fake relationships. Building and maintaining meaningful connections, it requires time. You can't get around it. You can't have, like, from one night to another, your best buddy that you have searched for entire life, okay? It does not work, and especially not when you are now an adult. So invest in friendships where you have a good gut feeling about that person. If you don't have a good friend, then think about, who do you want to become? And the person you want to become, you search those traits in another person, and you start to nurture that relationship. Maybe there is someone in your environment, but you haven't talked to this person in a long time. Then take the courage and reach out to them, ask them how they're doing, and nurture that relationship. Really, if you want to become like them, the only way is that you learn from them and be good and nurture that bond between the two of you. When it comes to fake relationships, the thing is that, the more people you have in your life, the more you have to accommodate to those people. Every person that you are meeting at work, in your private life, through a social event, whoever that is, you have a facade. And this facade is something you put on, like, you switch it on subconsciously. The thing is that the more people we have to accommodate and adjust ourselves to them. And then what happens is that it's gonna be harder for you to stay true to yourself. And the harder it is becoming for you to stay true to yourself, the faker you are going to become. Now, the faker you are becoming, the more fake relationships you're gonna have. This is unavoidable. And then what happens is that when you have a lot of people around you, like, let's assume you are in this one room and you consider 20 people as your best friends. What happens is that you are so afraid to say your opinion, because every opinion that you have could potentially hurt another person's feeling out of those 20 people, okay? So there will be people who are gonna be disagreeing to you. What you start to do is that you start to walk on eggshells. You start to compromise your opinions, your values, your perspective. You bend yourself for those people. And then you start to think constantly about what I'm gonna say next. And when this happens, my dear, this is a sign where you know that you are not as close to them as you would like to think. So in a nutshell, a large circle means less trustworthy people, you becoming less trustworthy yourself to people, you becoming more agreeable, you say yes to everything, and there are beliefs that are going to clash. I can assure you that, because I've been through it, especially when I was younger, and it is not worth it. It doesn't make you grow. It hinders you from growing, because you are only accommodating to other people instead of to yourself. Authenticity is also something that you will cultivate when you are choosing your circle wisely, when you're choosing the close people to you wisely. Because what happens if you're gonna start to become authentic? When you become more authentic, people who dislike you, they're gonna become more obvious. Like, you can't get around that. You're gonna have people who will dislike you. If you look into public figures, people who are on social media, those who have a large amount of followers, they are also having a lot of haters, because they have a certain opinion, certain values. Let alone speaking about politics, what's going on right now. the whole thing in Palestine. It's just heart-wrenching, you know. So what I'm telling is that sometimes, okay, let's speak about politics. Sometimes people, they want to stay authentic by saying, okay, I understand two sides. But the thing is that how do you even define authenticity? What is your value? Like, can a person who has morals be also authentic himself? Or is authenticity also just a coverage of being like, okay, I want to serve both parties? Because if I think about that, like, you can't be authentic and neutral. It's impossible. When it comes to morals, you can't be authentic and neutral. And when you say an opinion, when you hold a certain perspective, as I said before, people who dislike you start to become more obvious. And people who care for you, people, they see that you are authentic. They see who is this person behind the facade. And this is worse so much that sometimes people underrate it and start to think about who do you let in into your life, you know? Because if you think about that, do you trust someone who has 20 plus best friends, who is telling everyone that they are best friend with this person and who agrees on everything everyone is saying? Or do you trust someone who is very selective with their circle, who is very selective with the relationships and does not agree on everything and doesn't mind to sometimes speak up as well? Now, I'm not saying that you should only talk to the same people, that you should only hang out with the same people when I talk about having a small circle. Like, what I mean by that is that you of course, you can have business associates, you can have acquaintances, you have a network, right? Especially if you are a business person, if you're an entrepreneur, you can let people know who you are. But don't trust everything what people are telling you. You know, like when I meet a new person, everything they tell me, I literally take it with a grain of salt. Because the thing is that there are so many people out there who are amazing in public speaking, who are amazing in bringing a message across, who are amazing with using metaphors. But maybe at the end of the day, there is not much behind it. And also there are a lot of people who might be not that extroverted, who might not like to speak up their opinion, who might not use those metaphors to bring the message across so you can perceive it in a credible way. However, those people are the most genuine people on earth. So again, back to my point, what I was telling you before is that you need to invest time to select the people in your circle. And you need to go through phases with this person. You need to, because the longer you know a person, the more you are spending time with them. Sometimes there will be a situation where that would test the both of you, that would test your relationship with that person. And only then you can know how much they actually care about your relationship. I want you to protect your energy. As you strive for growth, as you strive to be successful, you need to protect your energy. And you need to prioritize what I need. And you need to prioritize your well-being. That means there's no room for drama, there's no room for toxic relationships, there's no room for people who want to manipulate or drain your energy or holding you back from achieving the goals that you want to achieve. And it doesn't matter if it's your friend, if it's your colleague, if it's the entire work environment. Sometimes you also need to leave a company to find yourself, okay? It doesn't matter if it's your partner. If your partner is toxic, you're gonna leave this person, because toxic people, they rarely see that they are toxic. So you can work on that as much as you want, but at the end of the day, rarely do toxic people or narcissistic people see that they are actually narcissists. So leave those people behind who are constantly making excuses for becoming better. Or people who are constantly having this victim mentality of blaming others and making others responsible that they are in the position they are at right now. Because I can tell you one thing, and that is so dangerous. You're gonna start to adopt the mindset of those people you're hanging out with. If the people in your circle are having the mindset victim mentality, who are always making excuses, who are always angry, who are always gossiping, who are always creating dramas, if you have those kind of people in your circle, you're gonna start to adopt the same mindset as well. Not only will you jump into their conversations, but when you are laying in the night in your bed, you're gonna have the same thoughts, and you will think about, oh, what did I talk with this person about today? So you're going to reflect on those things. You're going to reflect on like topics that are so irrelevant in your life, like that don't bring you further. So be really careful, really realize who is now in your life. Take a pen and a piece of paper, write those people down, write all of their qualities. And one of the quality, as I said before, that they have to have is that the ambition to be better, to become better, no matter where they're standing. It's just they need to have this ambition to become better, and they show it not only in words but also in actions, because that speaks so much louder than anything else. My father, he used to told me that friends are like apples. If you are a healthy apple, right, and you are sitting on that tree, and right next to you, there are 3 rotten apples, you're gonna rot as well. There's no chance that you can keep up to shine and still be healthy and good. So when you see there are rotten apples around you, then remember, it is okay to set boundaries. It is okay to distance yourself from those people. It is, maybe you also don't have to completely cut all ties, if you have family members who are constantly, giving you this negative mindset. Maybe you don't have to cut all ties, but just limit the time that you are spending with them. Because when I, for example, isolate myself, I also set boundaries, and I set the expectation for the people that are close to me. Not only will you set expectations for other people, but you also show other people or yourself that you are firm. You are firm with what you want in life. You make yourself accountable. People see the qualities that you are bringing up for yourself, as in like, wow, okay, she is actually very accountable, therefore maybe I can also ask her for help, because as she is accountable to herself, as she is treating herself or he is treating himself, therefore it is more likely that those traits are also being portrayed outwardly to other people, right? So when you meet someone who is brushing things off, that you're telling them what you want in life, or not taking you serious, and you need to really limit your contact to them, because you are deserving to be taken serious. And then there are also these kind of people who are like calling you and expect you to be on the phone over the day for 3 hours. No, if you have things to do, you're gonna do those things first. If you have your priorities on the day, especially during the week, then you're gonna follow those things first. And the person who you consider as in your closest circle, he or she will understand that you have things to do and don't have all the time to be there to pick up their calls. Okay, so boundaries are very, very important, and people who are dear to you, who are in your circle, they do respect your boundaries. They do know that life is busy, that life is sometimes also not only to focus on other people, but also for yourself. And believe me, I have cut out so many people in the last year. Like within the time span of like last year until now, I have cut out a lot of people. It was one of the hardest decisions I had to make, but it was also one of the best decisions that I made, because the people that were close to me anyways, we became closer. Like we are having such a strong bond, and I would never trade that with any kind of other relationship. Because the thing is that there is really a thin line between whether you will make it or whether you will be breaking it. And that thin line really determines who you are having in your closest circle. So in conclusion, I just want you to understand that, friendship, they are like diamonds, literally. Like some of them are fake and some of them are real. And those who are real, keep them very close to you. Friendship also happens over time. Like diamonds, like they are created under pressure. And the same is also with friendship. You have to go through different phases in life. You have to go through different circumstances so that you can see whether the relationship is worth nurturing or not. Whether is it worth the energy or not. Because if you think about it, having a meaningful relationship with someone requires compassion, it requires energy, time, it requires patience. These are a lot of attributes. It's not even a lot, but I would say these are very significant attributes that requires a lot. Like even having one relationship, one meaningful relationship can sometimes be also very challenging, right? But the beauty of the challenge is that you are having that raw diamond at the end of the day, right? So always ask yourself, is your current circle a representation of you? And also remember, do not always overshare with too many people, because oversharing is also how you leak your energy. Oversharing, like sharing less, is energetic protection. Like there's literally no need to tell people more than they need to know. The less you reveal about them, the more they can wonder, and that's also okay. So know that moving in silence, moving alone sometimes, is much more powerful than moving in a large circle where a lot of people might not even have good intention towards you, where a lot of people are not as genuine as you might think. And this is how you will ultimately also remain a peaceful life. This is how you are going to vibrate higher. And by vibrating higher, you're gonna attract people who are also vibrating on the same level and on the same energy. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments what you have found useful throughout this episode. And if you have any questions, also put them in the comments. And I wish you lots of blessings, lots of good energy in your life. Only amazing people that will push you to become better. And I will see you next time. Mwah.